What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? So, I want to try to make these things more of a regular thing where I just sit here and I talk to you guys about like life, music, and I just want to talk to you about just R&B, guitar, and just talk to you about the industry and various things that are going on. So, I want to hop on here and answer your questions. So, I want to give you guys space enough to have that opportunity to ask me whatever you want to ask me, and then I answer those questions. So, yeah, whenever you guys hop on and ask me a question, I definitely want to answer your question. Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? Yeah, I'm just taking this time to answer these questions. Perfect timing. I'm holding my guitar right now. Great, great. Yeah, so I want to like give you guys an opportunity to start talking to me, asking me questions. You want to ask me questions about the industry. You want to ask me questions about guitar. I want to be able to to make a connection with you guys without me just having my instrument in my hand all the time. And I understand that that's a very huge part of who I am, but I feel like I have a wealth of knowledge that I want to be able to start sharing with you guys. So I definitely want to give you what I have. So that's what I'm doing this for. So if you have a question, we'll keep it going. How do you keep your passion in playing guitar? So there are certain moments that you have like different ruts where you fall into like a place where like you're not sure about playing anymore. You want to listen to things that are going to inspire you. So sometimes I'll put a Spotify playlist on. I'll do various things that are like challenge me to listen to music in different genres, so that way like I'm always inspired. Stuff happens, or I go to concerts, I go to like different live shows that I'm always inspired by other people. There will be ebbs and flows in this thing, so it's not always going to be like you're inspired every single time it happens. So we all go through moments. How do you switch between playing lead and chords, especially in gospel? It just depends on the nature of the song. So if the song calls for you to play lead, then you play lead. If it calls for you to play chords, then that's what you have to do. In gospel, you have to be very sensitive in how you play and how you approach. You just can't like play lead the whole particular time because you'll be competing with the singer. So you have to find ways and be sensitive enough to hear. Like your ears have to be strong whenever you're playing gospel music. How are you? What's the perfect book for R&B? There is no perfect book for R&B. I would suggest going to my website, Kerrys Camp, KerrysCamp.com. If you really want to like unlock your full potential, and you're going to have lessons from me personally that are going to show you how to play R&B specifically. The minor 11 chord that you love so much, I've stumbled across it, not really knowing that that's what it is, the junction between the major and said. What are some of the chord phrases that you like to use? If you want to know about my chord phrases, I have a video chord library where I showcase all of the chords that I love to use. You can go to kerryscamp.com, and I have a whole chord library that shows you everything that I use, that I like to play. Good morning, good morning. What is the best way to market yourself as an independent artist? Use social media, the power of social media. Like I have my phone in my hand right now and I'm connecting with people all over the world. So use your phone, use social media, use Instagram, use Twitter, use YouTube to connect. Your phone is a computer. Literally, you can connect with anybody in the world. So it's about how consistent you can be. If you can be consistent with doing this, it's going to make things happen for you. It may start out slow, but be consistent and know that's what you want to do. Okay. All right. What is the best way to learn the fretboard? Note cards. Make note cards. So take it in 3 frets at a time and make note cards of what is on each string. And that's what I would do. And then like review it. So do 3 frets at a time, write out the little strings, whatever, and then be like, these are the notes that are on those strings. That's the best way to learn. And you have to be consistent with how you go over this material. So do it all of the time. All right, third question. Do passing diminished chords in your lessons always have to be the 7th chord in the key? No. If you watch all the lessons that I have, like on Kerrys Camp, you'll see when I talk about the diminished chords that I don't make them be the passing 7th chord. So no, they don't have to be that way. Thanks. Is it too late for me to start guitar at 44? No, it's not too late. The thing about guitar is it doesn't matter what age you are. It just matters about your dedication, how diligent you are with it. Um, says, do you, says, how do you make instrumentalists, says, how do you make it as an instrumentalist in the industry as far as releasing instrumental music? Um, it's all about networking. So you can create as much of a catalog, and then what I would do is I would reach out to different A&Rs or different people or different artists or different social media platforms and be like, listen, I have a package I would love to send to your artist. How do I go about doing that? And and then you want to build relationships and start networking. So you got to build a catalog. All right, melody has to be anticipated. The harmonies in gospel playing. Um, how do you play with pianos if they're only doing big chords like major sevens? So what you would have to do is you have to like be sensitive enough to when you're playing your chords to pronounce your chords. Either you can play the same chord, or when you're playing the chord, you don't have to hit every single note that's in the chord. Finding the ways to place chords without playing all of the notes in the chord is something that I've prided myself on, something that you have to actively work at, but it makes a huge difference. All right, Kerry, did you study jazz, and how did you? It says, hey, Kerry, do you study jazz, and how do I become a student? So if you want to become a student to my online school called Kerrys Camp, which is the #1 R&B school online, go to kerryscamp.com. That is KerrysKamp.com. And yes, for like 3 years, I studied jazz to kind of get a good foundation to know how to play jazz, and also played in a jazz band called On Purpose, where they really they hazed me in the sense of like they were hard on me because I was the youngest guy that was in the group, but I learned a lot that I use now. Okay. Hey, Kerry, I've been playing guitar for a while, and I want to really get into R&B music. How should I practice? And I already have a large acknowledgement of chords, but I don't know how to use them. All right. So if you have a great you need a mentor, you need a coach, you need a teacher. And I'm only telling you this because I used to have a lot of stuff and did not know what I was doing. So I provided a platform called Kerry's Camp. It's you go to kerryscamp.com, KerrysKamp. I've said it a lot of times, but this is a platform that's going to really walk you through all of the steps to show you how to everything that you have in your repertoire to really learn how to play guitar and be able to be the guitar player that you want to be. You need a coach, you need a good mentor. What is a recommended monthly effects pedal? I like the Boss ME80. I feel like the Boss ME80 is very, it's straight to the point. It gets the job done, and it has a lot of things, and it's cost effective. It doesn't break the bank. I just want to say I've learned a lot from you, being a jazz piano player. So, thank you. It says in gospel music setup, how do you avoid being drowned by the bass player and not slash the singer? You have to be sensitive with your ear. So gospel music is such an intricate, delicate type of music. You have to be careful. Number one, you want to make sure your tone doesn't overshadow a bass player. You want to accent. So finding a guitar that can cut through. So usually having a Strat or a Tele is really cool. Knowing your tones and knowing where to pick your spots out in certain songs. It says, how does one who has been practicing at home get to muster up playing publicly? You just have to do it. It's one of those situations where you have to go to like jam sessions and kind of get your feet wet. You have to build that confidence. So like if you can play it at home and you feel comfortable enough, then you just got to go out there and put yourself out there. You just got to do it. It's one of those things. You just got to do it. It says, how do you handle stage fright when you first started performing, and how do you overcome it? So you have to tell yourself that, like, listen, if I'm on this stage and I'm playing this, like, I've learned all this stuff from rehearsal and I know it. Like, I know this music. So at the end of the day, like, I just have to do my job. And it becomes to a point to where, like, you start to feel yourself getting more comfortable. So I used to perform in front of a mirror and watch myself, watch my tendencies, record myself practicing so I can see, like, what things I used to do, what things I want to change, what things I want to add to my playing when I play live. All right. How do you explain the difference between guitar playing and R&B, neo soul, and smooth funk? So neo soul and R&B are the same thing. And neo soul is a term that like the industry, the record label coined for newer music like Jill Scott, Erykah Badu. It's still R&B, so it's all the same. They just made that term. Funk is a completely different vibe. You just have to be sensitive enough whenever you start playing those different genres to be authentic to those genres. All right, thanks for all your help. My question, my guitar playing has grown a lot. My question, which is more important, developing guitar muscle memory or development of both. Both are just equally as strong. You can't. Your ear needs to be just as strong as your muscle memory. I tell people all the time, if your ear is weak, you're gonna struggle. It's gonna be difficult for you. That's why I think a lot of times gospel players, people that play in church, sometimes have an advantage because their ear has to be very strong, especially those that come from like a traditional church where they still do like congregational songs and you have various people singing the same song but in different keys. All right. How many song requests do you choose for your videos per month? I'm trying to. I've got so many song requests. Like, listen, what one thing I need you guys to understand. I'm not like your karaoke guitar player. That's not what I want to do. That's not why I want to inspire you. So like I appreciate you guys sending your song request in, but that's not like my vibe. My vibe is to teach you how to play, like to teach you how to fish. If I give you a fish, I'm just doing like these song requests. You're not really gonna learn well enough to be like to play it. You might be able to play what I'm showing you, but you're not going to know what you're doing. And I'd rather you know what you're doing than to just kind of be like a karaoke guitar player. I don't. I'm at this phase now where I'm really going to cut that out because I want to impart wisdom and knowledge of how to play the guitar and not just play a song. You know what I mean? Let me just go back and read some more of these other questions. I'm not from DC. I'm here in DC. I have a gig. I'm playing with Kiana Lede today at the Fillmore. So I'm not from DC. I'm just happen to be here. I'm on the road. Kerry really trying to handle the hybrid picking. Does Kerry's Camp? Yes, I go over that hybrid picking in Kerry's Camp. How much do you practice per day? It depends. Sometimes I may practice for an hour. Sometimes I may practice 6 hours. Sometimes I may practice for 30 minutes. It just really depends on what I need to do. If I'm practicing to teach, if I'm practicing to play for a gig, if I'm practicing to prepare for a session, it all depends. It's every day is different. How much does one need to practice at home? It all varies. You know, I can't. There's no. Everybody is different. So it may take one person 30 minutes. It may take another person 2 hours. It may take another person 6 hours. When you're preparing for a show, I would say practice until you can't get it wrong. You were talking about those cue cards you were talking about last time. So the cue cards that I'm talking about is if you want to learn the fretboard, break it up into 3 frets. So like get a note card, draw out the 3 fret sections, draw out the strings, and then put like what the names of those notes are on each string, and that way you can kind of review it. That's what you would do. What was your biggest break in the music career? I think my biggest break was I did the BET Music Matters weekend. I played for this girl named Kimberly Locke, I think her name was. And then from there, people started to see me and was like, yo, if you move to LA, you'll never stop working. So that was like my biggest break. I got a call to do a gig. I was originally from Alabama, moved to LA, and then from there I started to network and kind of brand myself, and then that's what my biggest break was. Kerrys Camp is an excellent learning platform. Thank you so much. What up, cuz? Love the new cats are doing with the genre musically, but you don't see enough folks learning and using amazing licks of decades from R&B, notably from the 60s and 70s. All right, so music has changed. So like the stuff that happened in the 60s and 70s, nobody plays that style. The style of music is not the same, so you can't incorporate a lot of those same old licks from the 60s and 70s with current music. So the thing about it is like you want to add that stuff to your repertoire. So like learning how to blend it in, but like the stuff nowadays, music is not asking for that. Like the artists that I play with now, I can't do the stuff that I used to do growing up. It's like it doesn't work in that music. And they would probably look at me like, what are you doing? Like your stuff sounds dated. So you have to be careful not to make your stuff sound dated whenever you play. How does one stay having a steady line of practicing the guitar versus noodling? Noodling is part of practicing. So like, you set aside a time. So like sometimes for me, like the first 10, 15 minutes is me just noodling. I'm just vibing. And then after I finish noodling, I kind of get that out of my system. Then I'm going to focus in on today. I'm going to focus in on chord progression structure. I'm going to focus in on doing lines or whatever. So noodling is a part of that. Where can I find Kerrys Camp? So you have to go online. It's KerrysCamp.com. Type that in and you'll be able to go find Kerrys Camp. How do you prevent your hands from cramping when playing bar chords for long periods of time? You have to take breaks and massage them. You have to build up that muscle. So there's like a contraption that you can squeeze that'll help build that muscle up. And then the more you do it, the stronger your hands will get. You know what I mean? It says, hold on. How do you know which pentatonic scale to use between certain chords? It just depends on if my chord progression, if I'm using, like I was teaching this lesson the other day, the number system. So it depends on if I start on the fifth string or the sixth string will let me know how I will go about using which pentatonic shape that I'm going to use. So if I'm in the fifth string, then I already know like, okay, I'm going to start like on using the pentatonic shape on the sixth string. That's where I'm going to, structure my scale from. So what's up, man? Have you ever played any smooth jazz gigs? Yes, I played smooth jazz for like 3 years. I did it to where I'm just like, I'm cool on it. That's not what I want to do specifically. But yeah, I did smooth jazz gigs for like 3 years. That Pinky though, you're the best. Oh man, I appreciate it. Let's go back and read some. All right, so there are no knob settings are different. So it just depends. Every amp that I play, I have a base of what I like. For me, I like a lot of my tone to be more darker and warmer. I don't like any kind of bright, brash, harsh tone. So I'm really keen on making sure that I'm a little bit more bass heavy and not so high on treble and mids. That's what I normally do. And I like reverb. My favorite gauge of string is tens. Whenever I'm playing now, I play tens. I used to play 11s when I was doing a lot more jazz, but I don't play jazz. I haven't played jazz in years. So tens are what I normally use. How do you know what level you're on? That's a good question. I would say you would know what level you're on by how well you can play a song. If I just like, yo, play this song. And if you can play it, and if you know like the concept behind it, and if you like you can break down various things or whatever, then you know that's what level you know that you're on. If you can't do that, then you have a lot of stuff you got to grow and get better at. Oh, my lesson content is laid out really well. Yes, I have a good staff. I have a good team. I want to make it to the point where like whoever comes and decides to be a part of Kerry's Camp, they're gonna walk away knowing like, dang, like this, like we put work in. We don't. I'm not just out here randomly doing videos and lessons. Like I sit with my team and my staff and make sure that you guys are getting the best of the best because I want to be the best R&B site. I want to be the best R&B teacher. I want to be the guru. I want to be where you come in order to like get yourself equipped to go out and do the job. Learning songs by ear, the optimal way. Yes, I would say it is. I mean, you have to use your ears regardless. Like nobody's spelling out. Like no artist is really giving you charts unless you're playing like a TV, late night TV or whatever. And even then, a lot of stuff is like ears. So you like even all the artists that I play for, all the professional artists I've ever played, people will give me a Dropbox and be like, "Yo, learn the song, learn the arrangements." Nobody's giving you like a chord chart, so you can chord it out yourself, but nobody's giving that to you. So yeah, your ears is probably one of the optimal ways you're gonna have to learn. How many hours per day do you practice? It varies. I mean, I answered that before, so there's no coined time frame. I don't be like, oh, I'm going to practice for 30 minutes and that's it. One day I might do 30 minutes, another day I might be like 2 hours. I may do 15 minutes, I may do 6 hours, I may do 10 hours. It just depends on what I have to do. What kind of action do you got set on the neck of your radius? I don't know how far many inches, but my shit is like super close because I want to be able to, it's easier for me to play that way. So like my action is kind of low. This is what happened to the beautiful white PRS. I still have it. Says, how do you make your thumb stop hurting while you're playing? It's one of those things. It's like you have to work that muscle. The more you work the muscle, the easier it's going to be. It's just one of those things. You got to build that muscle up. It's just not going to stop on its own. You just got to build it up. All right, I want to answer a few more, and then I'm gonna. What's your all-time favorite electric guitar? I don't have an all-time, but one of my favorites right now to date is I love the Strat HSS setup. That's probably one of my favorite go-tos. What is your favorite? Oh, we already did that. How do you arrange basic chords to R&B moods? What is the most important point for that? So R&B chords has like R&B grooves has a lot of minors. So just you want to think about whenever you're starting to approach, you want to make sure that the minor chords that you use work well together. You just have to be sensitive enough. It's like a feeling, it's like an emotion. Music is an emotional thing. You don't want to just play for the sake of playing. So whenever you're trying to create something, find something that resonates with you when you're playing. So the way it's like you can kind of convince an artist that that you're sharing this music with, that it makes sense. Are scales important to spend a lot of time practicing? Yes. You want to know scales so that way, number one, you know where the notes are. It's important to know scales. Says, how do you get breakfast included with your tour? You have to work that out with your tour manager. You killed the acoustic version of Mad at Me. I want to learn it. Haha. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. What advice would you give if there are no bands at your church and you're the only guitarist? Watch as many YouTube tutorials as you possibly can. See if there's any jam sessions around in your area, and network. How would you go about if there's two guitar players? So if there's two guitar players, what you guys are gonna have to do, you have to learn how to work well together. So you would have to learn chord structure, like what chord voicings are you using? Are you gonna do lead? Are you gonna do rhythm? You have to communicate. You both can't be playing the same thing or the same kind of style, or it's just not gonna work. It'd be like, why do we have both of you? Do you ever play rock music? Occasionally, but it's not my strong go-to. It's not what I practice or pride myself on. I'd be like, oh, I'm a rock guitarist, because that's not me. And if those that play rock, they would be like, oh, bro, you sound cool, but you're not authentic. You know what I mean? Any tips for beginners? If you're a beginner, I would say go to my website, Kerrys Camp, KerrysCamp.com, and sign up. Kate, you demonstrate how to mute notes, rhythm thing, please. I don't have my guitar because my guitar is getting loaded in. We have to get ready to play, so I can't demonstrate that right now. But if you go on my website, I have lessons where I talk about that. What's on your rider? It depends on the type of gig. So on my rider, I have, so like for some basic R&B stuff, so it depends on what it is. Right now, I'm going to the Fender DeVille with 410s. I used to use a Mesa Boogie, two Mesa Boogies, two Hercules stands, a power supply. I usually have a Taylor Acoustic 714. I have a special DI for that specific guitar. And I think that's it right now that I have on my rider. I've modified it. For pop gigs, I like to use a Mesa Boogie rectifier, or a JCM 800. But yeah, it just depends on what the gig is. Any tips when starting out performing and trying to expand your network? Yes. If use the power of social media, like, like if there's a song that you like, as an artist you like, cover their song and tag them. I'm sure they have people on their team that like look out for social media, look out for hashtags, that are always trying to find like the next person. And then be prepared to move if you need to move. I'm from Alabama originally. I had to move to LA in order to get on. As talented as I was, they're like logistically just didn't make any sense. So I had to move. And then from there, I've been doing nothing but networking my whole life, my whole career. As an MD, how do I transmit to the bass player? How do I transmit to the bass player playing that he's over? You would just pull him to the side. I would pull him to the side as a professional, be like, yo, bro, you're super talented. Like, I think somebody said it's like a love sandwich. Like, you'd be like, bro, you're super talented, but you're overplaying every song. And then what I would like from you is to do this. Or if you have examples, like, listen to this bass player's approach, whatever. I like what he's doing. I want you to do that for these particular songs. Because some people, are visual learners, or if they hear somebody else doing it, they know how to do it. Advice on how to play guitar, highlights a melody, chords, and bass simultaneously. So when you're playing, just be sensitive enough to like, you can do all of those things, but you have to make sure it makes sense in the music. If it doesn't make sense in the music, then it doesn't matter. Okay. Let me see. Your worst gig ever and why? I would say my worst gig ever are the ones that I'm not prepared. Like when I was first starting out in my career, because I wasn't prepared. That's why they were the worst gigs. And I was so uncomfortable on stage because I didn't know the music. And I tried to rely on somebody else to coach me through it, and I didn't feel comfortable. So I said I never wanted to do that to myself. So I started learning how important it was for me to know the music myself. Oh man, appreciate it. I'm originally from Hope LA is treating you. I mean, LA is treating me well. Like if you guys know anything about my career, I literally have played for everybody. I've been so fortunate. I've literally played for everybody. I've gotten placements. I've done everything that I wanted to do out of LA. I don't think there's one gig, or matter of fact, there's two gigs that I wanted to do that like I probably will never do. I've always wanted to play for Chris Brown and D'Angelo, and if that doesn't happen, I mean, it's fine. I've literally done everything. I mean, I played with Jason Derulo. I played with the Black Eyed Peas. I played with Tori Kelly. I played with Two Chains. I played with Ty Dolla Sign. I literally have played everything. You know what I mean? So like, my career since moving to LA has been nothing but fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? Would you ever play for Bruno Mars? Yeah, if the opportunity came up and it made sense, then yeah, I would definitely play for Bruno Mars. What up, Bo? You? What up, man? Which guitars do you like that's out now? I think to me, Peyton and Sharkey, J-Mo, Agape, Jerry, Walls, Tim Stewart, who else? Ben Forehand, Tim Dillon, who else? I don't want. I mean, it's hard because if I start calling out names and I miss somebody, I want somebody to be like whatever. Andy Woods is like super dope to me. There's so many guys that can play. Um, Nick is. I mean, there's so many guys. There's so many talented guys. Kerry's Camp is having a lot of Asian guys killing it right now too. Yeah, man. There's a whole bunch of Asian cats that are like super phenomenal. Them dudes is like super talented. Says anything you really enjoy playing outside of R&B? I like singer-songwriter music. I like worship music. I like gospel. I like CCM. Um, do you think Spanky Alford fundamental for R&B and neo soul guitar? Says how do you think he came up? I don't know. I never got a chance to sit with Spanky. I know he's from Huntsville, Alabama, but I never got a chance to sit with him, so I don't know how he came up with whatever. But I feel like I can tell when it's you I'm listening to now. That's what I want. I want my sound to be one of those signature sounds. So I'm not starting my own band. I'm beyond that. I'm over that. Like I've done that, been there, done that. Like I don't have any desire to start my own band. It's just a lot of work. And the thing about building a band and having people, you have to have like-minded people who understand the hustle and the grind. And it's not all glamorous because, especially at this level, there are people that are so used to making a certain amount of money and you can't guarantee that, and you have to deal with promoters. And that's nah. I've been there, done that. I'm cool. um, Gonna answer a few more things. Yeah, so I do limited lifetime memberships for certain people that are part of Kerry's Camp. Any advice on how to play guitar? No, we went over that. Are you able to mute on acoustic? Yes, you're able to mute on acoustic. Say Kerry, as far as like gigs and shows, says go do you find practice or soloing? I find rhythmic guitar is overlooked often. Rhythm guitar is not overlooked often. It just depends on what artists and what songs you're playing. Like I've plenty of songs that I have to play rhythm all the time, and that's what the song requires. So it just depends on like what artist you play for and what you're doing. Those are the things that are specified. So all right. Well, I'm gonna cut it short because I got to get ready to go to load in. I'm sorry. I just wanted to hop on here really quickly. I'm gonna start doing these, trying to do these more consistently on Saturdays, where I'm just taking out, maybe 30 minutes at a time and just kind of sitting here chatting with you guys, answering questions, questions about the industry, questions about guitar, questions about like, music stuff, whatever. And I'm not gonna have my guitar in my hands because I want to get the chance, to talk to you guys without like having my guitar because I'm doing YouTube videos like all the time, or I'm teaching all the time. So I want to just give you guys tips or whatever. Any tips for beginners learning from YouTube? Dissect it, take it piece by piece. There's a lot of information out there and there's a lot of overwhelming stuff. Learn till you can't get it wrong. That's what I would say for new guys. Do you have a manager or an agent? No, I don't have a manager or an agent. I don't need a manager or agent at this particular point in my career. I've done everything myself. I've had a publicist for a long time, but I don't need a manager or an agent. I used to have a manager and I was paying somebody, but it didn't make any sense. I was just spending out money that I didn't need. Um, so I want to thank you guys so much for taking this time out with me. I hope you guys have a great day. Like I said, I'm going to start doing these hopefully like every Saturday, just for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hopping on here, answering your questions. And, I want to share information with you that like behind the scenes kind of stuff that, you want to, if you're not immersed in the industry, but you're thinking about trying to do this kind of stuff, then you can ask me personally. I definitely want to help you guys out. So I hope you guys have a great Saturday. Enjoy yourselves, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.